Alright, so we have Sam Alvey versus Roman Kopylov. So Sam Alvey, he's on a bit of a slump to say the least. He's winless in his last 6 fights. I'm not sure the last time he's won a fight might be 3-4 years ago. But yeah, so we'll see how he goes in this one. If he loses this one, I imagine he's getting cut. I thought that about the last fight as well, but he's still in the octagon. He's still, he's putting on entertaining fights like recently. Like it's been very competitive with solid prospects as well. So I understand they're keeping him around, and I don't hate it, honestly. Alright, so on the feet, both these guys are southpaws. Sam Alvey, he likes to stay on the fence. We know his style. He's been in the UFC for a while now. Like if you watch the Marquez fight, you know how people kind of generally tend to meet in the center of the octagon as the fight starts, and they like to both come forward. Well, Sam Alvey, he'll just kind of stand there, and he'll wait for the opponent to cover the whole distance of the octagon and just meet him at the fence that he started at. Like he doesn't even move at the start of the Marquez fight. But yeah, he likes to stay on the fence. He likes to look for his counters, and that's basically his style. Like that's what he's been doing his whole career, and he's not going to stop now. But yeah, he's mostly looking to counter. He's looking for the check right hook a lot. When you're closing distance, just watch out for the check right hook when you're facing Sam Alvey. He's always looking for it in the pocket. He's looking to exchange. He's not afraid to exchange in the pocket. He's throwing hooks in the pocket. The right hook is his go-to in the pocket. So yeah, he's willing to go out in his shield. Like he's willing to exchange in the pocket, and if he gets hurt, he's still going to start throwing those right hooks. So that's why you've seen him get finished quite a bit lately. He's a little too willing to throw down in the pocket. But yeah, check right hook. Got to watch out for that. He will follow it up with a straight left. He's got power in both hands. Like he's definitely got the power advantage in this one. Kopylov doesn't seem to have too much power from what I've seen. But Kopylov, he does have this tendency to lean back to his left to avoid straight lefts from southpaws. So Sam Alvey could definitely look to time, as he's leaning back, he's going to be leaning forward, instinctively afterwards. So, if he's leaning back to avoid the straight left and you can't reach him with that, then maybe, look to finish it up with a right hook and try to catch him as he's leaning forward again. Kopylov is definitely a competent striker. Like, he doesn't make too many mistakes on the feet. He likes to work the body. He likes to attack the body quite a bit. Body kick is probably his best technique, but it's not as open here versus southpaw because he's going to have to kick the lead side of Alvey, which just isn't as effective. If you're kicking the lead side of your opponent, you're very open to get the kick caught or just be countered because you're in such close proximity. But, it's just not really a great technique to throw against another southpaw. But I think that takes away a large percentage of his offense because he is quite a nice kicker. Nice high kick versus orthodox fighters. He likes to finish a combination with a roundhouse kick a lot of the time. So, yeah, it does take away a good chunk of his offense when he does face a southpaw, and we did see that in the Carl Roberson fight. He was quite limited with his offense. He was throwing the step-in jab, the 3-2. He was throwing the 1-2 to the high kick, but it wasn't as effective, and it just looked a little bit awkward because he was facing another southpaw. So I think, yeah, southpaw versus southpaw does favour Sam Alvey at the end of the day, just with the respective fighting styles and how these guys like to fight. I think it does favour Sam Alvey. How these guys win fights, good cardio, good pacing for Kopylov. Also, I think he does have a big speed advantage in this one. But yeah, it has to be said that Sam Alvey, I do give him the power advantage. How these guys lose fights, so for Sam Alvey, I think his durability is fading, something he relied on in the past, but he doesn't seem to be able to take a shot as well as he used to. Obviously getting older, but he's taken a bit of damage in his career as well. Poor visuals as well for Sam Alvey. He stays in the fence, he's low volume. It's very hard to give a round to Sam Alvey. He doesn't make it easy. But for Kopylov, he doesn't exactly wow you with volume either. Both these guys quite low volume. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a bit of a staring match, honestly. But path to victory for these two. So for Kopylov, look to draw out the right hook with feints, and then go with your offense after you draw out the hook of Sam Alvey. Don't jab to the body. I've seen you jab to the body quite a bit in the past. Don't do that in this fight, and don't brawl. Don't get in the pocket. Like Sam Alvey, you know, his chin is pretty much done, but he does have a big power advantage in this one. So I wouldn't brawl. It's just not the way you should probably fight Sam Alvey in this one if you're Kopylov. And for Sam Alvey, look for the right hook as he goes to the body. Yeah, that's basically what he does anyway, so I don't really have to tell him to do that. Look for low calf kicks. In the Roberson fight, Kopylov, you know, he showed a lot of issues defending the leg kicks of Karl Roberson. So, yeah, I think you should try to attack that. And if you're Sam Alvey and you're just losing, like, just go for it. Like, don't let the fight slip away. You know, you're probably going to get out volumed. You're going to get cut anyway if you lose this one for sure. I can say that with 100% certainty. You're not losing like 7 in a row or whatever and staying in the UFC. It's just not going to happen, especially if you're not a huge name. So you're definitely getting cut if you lose this one. So it's easier said than done, but you just got to go for it at the end of the day if you are losing on the cards. How I see the fight going? So don't let the Russian name fool you. Like, Kopylov, he doesn't shoot for takedowns. I think this fight's going to be on the feet. Sam Alvey, he doesn't shoot for takedowns either. So I think this one's purely going to be a striking match. And I think everyone is wise to Sam Alvey's game plan. Like, it's the book's been written a million times on Sam Alvey's game plan. Pretty easy to strategize around him and just strategize a game plan to beat him. But he's also pretty good at making people fight his fight. A boxing match where two guys are just exchanging in the pocket in a range that he likes. So yeah, like, you say what you want about him, but he's pretty good at making people fight his type of fight. And you generally don't look amazing when you fight Sam Alvey. Like, it's generally, it's going to be quite competitive. You're not really running away with it, but you just kind of outwork him at the end of the day. However, I must say that Julian Marquez, he fought very well. He fought aggressively, but also very smart with his entries. So I was really impressed with that performance from Marquez. Normally, it's very hard to look good against Alvey, but yeah, Marquez looked great in that fight. But yeah, Kopylov, he's mostly a kicker. Like, he likes to kick a lot more than he likes to punch. I think his best techniques is definitely his roundhouse body kick, but you know, when we watched him face another southpaw in Karl Roberson, he barely threw any kicks, and you know, in turn, didn't really have too many other weapons. You know, he threw that awkward body kick at the lead side of Roberson at the end of the third round, I believe. But you know, it just wasn't very effective, and he just didn't throw many kicks in that fight. So I think southpaw versus southpaw is advantageous, or is more advantageous to Alvey, in my opinion, because I think he can make it a boxing match for the most part. And Kopylov, he doesn't necessarily keep his hands up when he is throwing or when he's trying to close distance, and he's pretty predictable with that lean back tendency that I talked about before. So maybe Sam Alvey could catch him with that. You know, Kopylov was getting caught with the left hand, of Inamoto a lot in their fight. So that's a little concerning when you're facing a guy with the power of Alvey and the power in his left hand in particular. Alvey's always been such a sweaty guy to bet against because he has that one-shot KO power and he generally gets people to fight his type of fight. But, you know, if Kopylov can keep distance, if he doesn't stay in the pocket for too long and he mixes in his kicks nicely as well, keeps distance, just land distance techniques, then I believe he should cruise, as anyone can against Sam Alvey. You know, it's pretty easy to game plan against Sam Alvey, but you know, I do see these guys exchanging quite a bit in this fight where I do believe Sam Alvey has the advantage. So, you know, it's hard to favour Sam Alvey to win a fight because the optics and the volume, but I just have a feeling he sleeps Kopylov in this one. Alright, so if you guys could like the video, helps out the channel a lot, gets pushed into the algorithm, so that is everything. So cheers. So my prediction is Alvey by TKO. I think he should be a very slight favourite. Don't have too much faith in the guy. You know, if you're going to bet Alvey, just be prepared for him to not fight for your money. Like, be prepared for him to just do nothing. You know, just, if you hate losing bets and you hate losing money, then yeah, you probably shouldn't bet on Sam Alvey because he's not exactly going to fight for your money. So, yeah. But I think he has value in this spot. I'm going to bet him anything above $2.40 or plus 140. So, you know, get a decent edge here. But yeah, he's not going to fight for your money, but I think he's value. I'm not going to go big because it's Sam Alvey and he's a little passive, but yeah.